Amara Ellison strides off a Seattle jet, her worn sneakers scraping the tarmac, a first-class pass clutched tight. She's just shamed a flight attendant who tried tossing her from seat 1A for no reason but her skin. Passengers clap, her calm defiance sparking cheers. Then her phone pings. A text from Cassandra Holt, the airline's top dog, hisses, "You'll regret this." That fleeting win wasn't the end. It was a fuse lit for chaos. What war has Amara unknowingly unleashed? Before we dive in, drop a comment. Where are you watching from? If you stand for justice, hit like and subscribe for more stories that fight back. Amara Ellison thought she'd walked away clean. Her heart still raced from the showdown on the plane, where she'd stared down that flight attendant's sneer and held her ground in seat 1A. The memory of passengers clapping as she stepped onto the tarmac lingered like a small victory, a rare moment when the world seemed to tilt her way. But Seattle's airport had other plans. The terminal buzzed with evening chaos, travelers dragging suitcases, screens flashing delays, and the sharp scent of coffee cutting through the air. Amara adjusted her faded backpack, her sneakers squeaking on the polished floor, ready to slip into the night and leave the whole mess behind. She didn't see the storm coming. Halfway to the exit, two security guards cut her path. Their navy uniforms loomed, badges glinting under fluorescent lights. The taller one, a guy with a buzz, cut and a jaw set like concrete, stepped forward. "Ma'am, we need to see your boarding pass." His voice was flat, but his eyes scanned her with a judgment she knew too well. Amara's stomach tightened. She'd been through enough pat-downs and random checks to recognize the tone. Still, she kept her cool, pulling the crumpled first-class pass from her pocket. "Here it is. I'm just heading out." The second guard, shorter with a mustache that twitched like he smelled something sour, snatched the paper and squinted at it. "This pass is flagged. Looks fraudulent." Fraudulent. The word hit like a slap. Amara's pulse quickened, but she kept her voice steady. "That's impossible. I bought it myself. Check the system." Buzzcut crossed his arms, his stance widening as if she might bolt. "System says you're not cleared for first class. Step aside, ma'am. We're sorting this out." A crowd was forming now, travelers slowing to gawk, their whispers crawling over her skin. She caught a glimpse of a woman in a sleek blazer watching from a coffee shop across the concourse. Her blonde hair pulled tight, lips curled into a smirk. Cassandra Holt. The name from that chilling text burned in Amara's mind. This wasn't random. "I'm not stepping anywhere until you verify it," Amara said, planting her feet. Her fingers brushed her phone, itching to record, but she held back. Don't give them a reason, she thought. The guards exchanged a glance, and Mustache barked into his radio. "Got a problem passenger at gate 12. Need backup." Problem passenger. The phrase twisted in her gut. Another label she'd worn too often. Black woman. Too loud. Too bold. Too much. She pulled out her receipt email, holding it up. "Look, paid in full. Seat 1A. Call the airline desk if you don't believe me." Buzzcut barely glanced at it. "Doesn't matter. You're coming with us." The crowd thickened, phones now out, red dots blinking. Amara's chest tightened, but she forced a calm she didn't feel. "I'm not going anywhere. Verify it. Now." Her voice carried just enough edge to make Mustache hesitate. He muttered something into his radio, then stepped away, leaving Buzzcut to loom over her. Minutes dragged, each one heavier than the eye. Last, she felt Cassandra's eyes boring into her, that smirk growing. Finally, Mustache returned, his face sour. "Fine. System checks out. You're clear." He shoved the pass back, his fingers brushing hers with deliberate force. Amara exhaled, her shoulders easing. She'd won. Again. Or so she thought. She grabbed her bag and pushed through the crowd, their murmurs fading as she aimed for the glass doors. Freedom was close, the cool night air just beyond. But then her phone buzzed, a notification from a social media app she rarely used. She glanced at it, expecting spam. Instead, it was a video link titled, "Entitled Passenger Causes Scene at Airport." Her heart sank. She tapped it, and there she was. Grainy footage from the terminal, her face caught mid-sentence, edited to make her look like she was yelling at the guards. The clip cut her words, splicing them with lies. "I don't follow rules," it claimed she screamed. She'd said nothing like that. The video ended with a freeze frame of her, eyes narrowed, captioned, "Who does she think she is?" Amara froze, the terminal blurring around her. The video already had 10,000 views. Comments poured in, each uglier than the last. "Typical," one read. "Always playing the victim," said another, laced with a slur she'd heard too, many times. Her hands shook as she scrolled, the vitriol piling up like bricks on her chest. She looked back toward the coffee shop, but Cassandra was gone, her absence louder than any taunt. This was her doing. That text wasn't a warning. It was a promise. Amara shoved her phone in her pocket, forcing her legs to move. She needed to get home, regroup, figure out how to fight this. The exit doors slid open, and she stepped into the night, unaware of how much worse it was about to get. By the time she reached her bus stop, the video had hit 50,000 views. Her name was trending, not for her defiance on the plane, but as a punchline, a caricature of anger. She sat on the cold bench, hood up, watching headlights streak past. Her apartment was a 40-minute ride away, a cramped studio in a gritty Seattle neighborhood where she'd carved out a life. She'd worked her way up at a tech startup, crunching data late into the night, proving herself in rooms where she was always the only one like her. That hustle felt fragile now, like it could slip through her fingers. The bus pulled up and she climbed on, sinking into a seat by the window. Her reflection stared back, tired but unbowed. She'd faced worse than a viral video. She'd fix this. But the internet didn't sleep. By morning, the video had spread to every corner of the web, racking up 500,000 views. Amara woke to her phone buzzing nonstop, notifications piling up like a digital avalanche. She ignored them, brewing coffee in her tiny kitchen, trying to focus. She'd call her boss, explain the truth, keep her job secure. But when she opened her email, a message from HR sat at the top. Urgent, meeting at 9 a.m. regarding recent events. Her stomach dropped. They couldn't mean the video. She'd done nothing wrong. Still, she dressed carefully, navy blazer, pressed slacks, armor for whatever was coming. At the startup's sleek office downtown, her co-workers avoided her eyes. The meeting room was glass-walled, exposing her to every glance. Her boss, a wiry guy named Greg who usually grinned too much, looked grim. "Amara, this video's causing problems," he said, sliding a tablet across the table. The clip played silently, her distorted image glaring back. "Clients are asking questions. We can't have this kind of attention." She leaned forward, voice level. "It's edited. I didn't say those things. Someone's targeting me." Greg sighed, rubbing his temples. "Maybe, but perception's reality. We need to manage this." She laid out the facts, the flight, the guards, the truth. Greg nodded, but his eyes flicked to his phone. "We'll look into it," he said, non-committal. Amara left the meeting, feeling unsteady, like the ground was shifting beneath her. Back at her desk, she searched for the video's source. Buried in a comment thread, she found a clue. An account linked to a PR firm tied to Cascade Airlines. Cassandra Holt's domain. The pieces clicked. This wasn't just a random troll. It was a calculated hit, designed to bury her. Amara's fingers hovered over her keyboard. She could fight back, post the unedited truth, call out the lies. But doubt crept in. Would anyone believe her? The video had already shaped the narrative, painting her as the villain. She leaned back, staring at the city skyline through the office window. Seattle's gray clouds felt heavier today, pressing down on her. She thought the plane was the worst of it, that standing her ground would be enough. But Cassandra's text echoed in her mind. "You'll regret this." Amara's jaw tightened. Regret wasn't in her playbook. Whatever Cassandra had planned, she'd face it head on. Amara Ellison woke to a phone that wouldn't shut up. Its screen glowed in the dim light of her Seattle studio, buzzing like an angry hornet's nest. She'd barely slept. the memory of that doctored airport video looping in her mind. Her face twisted, her voice warped into something she'd never said. 500,000 views by midnight, each one a stranger judging her as the entitled passenger who'd caused a scene. She rubbed her eyes, hoping the morning would dull the sting. It didn't. The notifications had multiplied, a digital mob banging at her door. She silenced the phone and stumbled to her coffee maker, the cheap machine sputtering like it felt her mood. Today she'd fix this. She had to. Her inbox was a war zone. Hundreds of emails, most from accounts she didn't recognize. Some were curious, asking for her side. Others weren't so kind. "Go back to where you came from," one read, the words slicing deeper than she'd admit. Another called her a slur she hadn't heard since high school, back when kids mocked her thrift store clothes in a Chicago suburb. She deleted them one by one, her fingers steady despite the knot in her chest. This wasn't new. She'd faced hate before, sly comments at work, stares on buses. But this was different. This was a tidal wave, and it had her name on it. She opened social media, bracing herself. The video was everywhere, shared by influencers, news pages, even a politician. With a blue checkmark railing about disrespectful behavior, comments piled up. Thousands of them, tearing her apart. "She's why airports are a mess," one said. "Bet she faked that ticket," sneered another. Amara's jaw clenched. She wasn't a meme or a cautionary tale. She was a data analyst who'd worked her way up, a woman who'd bought a first-class seat fare in Square. But the truth felt small against the noise. Her phone rang, snapping her back. It was Greg, her boss at the tech startup. His voice was clipped, no trace of his usual grin. "Amara, we've got a problem. Clients are calling. They saw the video." She gripped the counter, her coffee mug cold in her hand. "It's not me, Greg. It's edited. Someone's setting me up." He sighed, the sound heavy with doubt. "I hear you, but we're getting complaints, anonymous ones, demanding we let you go. I need you to stay home today. We'll sort it out. Stay home." The words landed like a punch. She'd just been in his office yesterday explaining the truth. "Now this? Greg, check the PR firm tied to Cascade Airlines," she said, her voice sharp. "That's who's behind it. I found their account." She'd spent hours last night digging, tracing the video to a shadowy profile linked to Cassandra Holt's empire. Greg paused, then muttered, "I'll look into it. Just keep a low profile." The call ended, leaving her staring at the wall. Low profile, like she could hide from a million eyeballs. She sank onto her couch, the springs creaking under her weight. Her apartment felt smaller today, the cracked paint and thrift store lamp closing in. She needed a plan. Amara grabbed her laptop, her fingers flying across the keys. She'd fight fire with fire. She drafted a post, laying out the facts, the flight attendant's sneer, the guard's accusations, the video's lies. She attached her receipt, a screenshot of her boarding pass, even a grainy clip from her phone showing the real exchange with security. "This is my truth," she wrote. "I won't let them rewrite me." She hit send, her heart pounding. Maybe the internet would listen. Maybe someone would care. The post gained traction fast, a few hundred likes, then 1,000. Strangers shared it, their comments a lifeline. "We see you, Amara," one wrote. "This is disgusting," said another, tagging Cascade Airlines. A local activist with a big following boosted her, calling for accountability. Amara's chest loosened. She wasn't alone. People believed her. She refreshed the page, watching. The numbers climb. 10,000 views. 20,000. A news blog picked it up, headlining it, "Passenger Fights Back Against Smear." For the first time since the plane, she felt like she was steering the ship. She leaned back, exhaling. She'd turned the tide. Then her phone buzzed again. An email from HR marked urgent. She opened it, expecting Greg's follow-up. Instead, it was a formal notice. "Due to recent events impacting company reputation, your employment is suspended effective immediately, pending review." Suspended. The word echoed, hollow and final. Her laptop slipped to the couch, her post still glowing on the screen. She'd fought back, and this was her reward? She reread the email, searching for a mistake. There wasn't one. The company she'd poured 3 years into, late nights, perfect reports, had cut her loose without a fight. She called Greg, her voice shaking. "What is this? You said you'd look into it." He sounded tired, cornered. "Amara, the complaints didn't stop. Big clients are threatening to pull contracts. The board's freaking out." She cut in. "It's Cassandra Holt. She's doing this. You know I'm right." Greg hesitated, then admitted. "We got an email from Cascade's legal team. They implied issues if we kept you on." Her blood ran cold. Cassandra wasn't just playing dirty. She was strangling Amara's life piece by piece. Greg added, "I'm sorry. My hands are tied." The line went dead. Amara stood, pacing her tiny living room. Her post was still climbing, 50,000 views now, but it felt pointless. Allies online couldn't pay her rent or undo a suspension. She stopped at the window, Seattle's skyline a gray smear beyond the glass. Cassandra's reach was everywhere, a spiderweb Amara hadn't seen until she was caught. That PR firm wasn't just a clue, it was a cog in a machine built to crush her. She'd thought exposing the truth would save her. Instead, it had painted a bigger target on her back. Her mind flashed to the plane, to Cassandra's smirk across the terminal. That woman didn't just want Amara humiliated, she wanted her erased. Amara's fist clenched. She'd grown up dodging traps like this, from teachers who assumed she'd fail to bosses who questioned her fit. She'd clawed her way to a first-class seat, to a corner desk at a startup, only to have it yanked away. But she wasn't done. Not yet. She grabbed her phone, scrolling through the supportive comments. A few offered tips. Lawyers, journalists, even a hacker who claimed they could dig deeper. She bookmarked them all. Cassandra thought she'd won. She was about to learn Amara didn't break easy, but the day wasn't done with her. A new notification popped up, a message from an old coworker, someone she'd trusted. "Amara, heads up. HR's saying you leaked client data. They're building a case to fire you for cause." Her breath caught. Leaked data? She'd never touched a client file outside her job. It was another lie, another blade from Cassandra's arsenal. She sank to the floor, the room spinning. Her post, her fight, her truth, they weren't enough. The world was listening, but the people with power weren't. She hugged her knees, the weight of it all pressing down. Outside, rain started to fall, tapping her window like a warning. Cassandra's web was tightening, and Amara was running out of moves. Amara Ellison's apartment felt like a cage. The Seattle rain hammered her single window, each drop a reminder of the life slipping out of her grip. Her suspension from the tech startup had hit 3 days ago, and the silence since was deafening. No calls from Greg, no updates from HR, just the echo of that email. Pending review. Her laptop sat open, job applications half finished, the cursor blinking like a taunt. She'd sent 20 resumes since yesterday, data analyst roles, freelance gigs, even a long shot at a consulting firm. Nothing, not a single reply. She leaned back on her creaky couch, the springs digging into her spine. How had it come to this? A first-class seat, a moment of standing her ground, and now her world was unraveling. Her phone lay face down on the coffee table, silenced after the flood of hate from that viral video. She'd stopped checking social media, but the memory of those comments burned. Slurs, accusations, strangers deciding she was nothing. Her post fighting back had rallied some allies, but it hadn't saved her job. She stood, pacing the cramped studio, her sneakers scuffing the worn linoleum. Rent was due in 10 days, and her savings were thin, barely enough for a month. She'd built this life from scratch, nights studying in a Chicago library, scholarships to college, every step a defiance of the odds. Was it all for nothing now? She grabbed her phone, scrolling for distractions. A message from a recruiter popped up, her heart leaping for a second. "Thanks for applying," it read, "but we're moving forward with other candidates." Another door slammed shut. She tossed the phone down, running her hands over her braids. There had to be a way out. She'd faced worse. Classmates who sneered at her secondhand clothes. Bosses who questioned her attitude. She'd always found a path. But this felt different, like the walls were closing in, each one stamped with Cassandra Holt's smirk. That woman's name haunted her, a shadow behind every setback. Amara opened her laptop again, digging into job boards. Maybe she'd missed something. A notification pinged, an email from a former coworker, Jada, who'd always had her back. "Girl, you need to know," it read. "Words out, you're untouchable. Recruiters are spooked. Someone's blacklisting you." Amara's stomach dropped. "Blacklisting?" She typed a quick reply, her fingers shaking. "Who's behind it?" Jada's response came fast. "Can't say for sure, but it's big. Cascade. Airlines has pull. Be careful." Cascade. Cassandra's empire. The air felt heavier now, like Amara was breathing through a straw. She leaned back, staring at the ceiling's water stain, shaped like a mocking grin. Cassandra wasn't just playing games. She was dismantling Amara's life, piece by piece. Blacklisted. The word echoed, cold and final. It wasn't just about one job. It was every job, every chance, every dream she'd fought for. She closed her eyes, picturing her mom's voice from years ago, soft but fierce. "They'll try to box you in, baby, but you're bigger than their boxes." She needed that fire now, something to keep her moving. She wasn't done yet. Amara grabbed her phone, dialing a contact she'd bookmarked during her social media fight. A small investor named Malik, who'd reached out after her post went viral. He'd called her story inspiring, offered to meet. Maybe he'd see. Past the blacklist. The call connected, his voice warm but cautious. "Amara, I saw what happened. Rough stuff." She cut to the chase, pitching a freelance project she'd been sketching out, a data platform for startups, lean and smart. She poured her heart into it, every word sharp, her mind racing to prove she was more than a viral villain. Malik listened, then paused. "It's brilliant," he said finally. "I'm in. Let's set a meeting." Her chest loosened, a spark of hope flaring. They set a date for tomorrow, a coffee shop downtown. She hung up, a smile tugging at her lips. A lifeline. She could rebuild, start small, show the world she wasn't broken. She spent the night refining her pitch, charts and numbers dancing across her screen. For the first time in days, she felt alive, like she was clawing her way back. Morning came and she dressed sharp. Crisp white shirt, navy slacks, ready to fight. The coffee shop was cozy, all exposed brick and steaming mugs. Malik was already there, a wiry guy with kind eyes. They talked, laughed, her pitch landing perfectly. He leaned forward, grinning. "I'm sold. Let's draft a contract." Amara's heart soared. She'd done it. She'd beaten the blacklist. Then his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, his smile fading. "One sec," he muttered, stepping outside. Amara sipped her latte, watching through the window as his face tightened, his gestures sharp. He came back, avoiding her eyes. "Amara, something's come up. I can't move forward." Her stomach twisted. "What happened?" she pressed, her voice low. He shifted, uncomfortable. "Got a call. People higher up. They're not thrilled about the optics. Your name's too hot right now." She froze, the truth sinking in. "Cascade?" she asked. He didn't answer, just looked away. "I'm sorry," he said, grabbing his coat and leaving her with the bill. Amara sat there, the coffee shop blurring around her. Her pitch, her hope, her comeback, gone in a phone call. Cassandra's reach was a vice, squeezing tighter every time she dared to stand. She walked home, the city's gray drizzle soaking her clothes. Her apartment was quiet, too quiet, the kind of silence that screamed. She dropped her bag, sinking to the floor, her mind replaying Malik's words. Too hot. Not her work, not her skill, her name, her existence. She'd fought so hard only to hit another wall, this one taller, sharper, built to keep her out. Her eyes drifted to her window, the rain streaking down like tears. She was almost out of moves. Her savings dwindling, her allies scattered. Then a crash shattered the silence. Glass sprayed across her floor, a brick skidding to a stop by her couch. She scrambled back, heart pounding, shards crunching under her palms. A note was taped to it, the handwriting jagged. "Leave town." Her breath caught, fear spiking through her. She locked the door, checked the windows, her hands trembling. The note wasn't signed, but it didn't need to be. Cassandra's shadow was everywhere, and this time it wasn't just words, it was violence. Amara stood, her fear hardening into something else. She grabbed her phone, snapping photos of the brick, the note, the broken window. She wasn't running. Not now, not ever. But the room felt colder, the walls no longer hers. She sank onto her bed, the note's words burning in her mind. Leave town. She'd grown up fighting battles like this, from schoolyards to boardrooms, but this was new. This was personal. Cassandra wasn't just trying to ruin her. She was trying to erase her. And Amara had no idea how much worse it could get. Yo, let's talk about this for a second. Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you fight, someone's waiting to knock you down? Drop a comment with number 1 if you've ever been judged for just existing, like Amara is right now. It's wild how one moment of standing up can spiral into this kind of chaos, right? Hit that like button if you're rooting for her to keep fighting, and subscribe to catch every twist in this story. We're just getting started, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. Speaking of next, what do you think Amara's going to do with that brick in her hand? Is she about to run, or is she plotting something bigger? Amara Ellison's apartment was no longer a home. It was a crime scene. The broken window gaped like a wound, letting in Seattle's damp chill. The brick with its scrawled threat, "Leave town," sat on her coffee table, a grim reminder of how far Cassandra Holt was willing to go. Amara hadn't slept, her mind racing through the past week, the plane, the viral video, her suspension, the blacklist, and now this. She'd taped cardboard over the glass, but it didn't block the fear creeping into her bones. She couldn't stay here, not with her life unraveling and danger knocking. But running wasn't her style. She needed to fight, louder this time, where the world could see. Her phone buzzed with a text from Nia, a friend from her old neighborhood who'd been blowing up her inbox since the video hit. "There's a rally downtown tomorrow," it read. "Workplace racism. You should speak. People need to hear you." Amara hesitated. The last time she'd gone public, her job got torched. But staying silent felt like letting Cassandra win. She typed back, "I'm in." The rally was a chance to take back her voice, to show she wasn't the villain the internet had made. Her. She spent the day scribbling notes, her hands shaking with nerves and resolve. This wasn't just about her, it was about every black woman who'd been told to shrink. The next afternoon she stood in a crowded plaza, the Seattle skyline looming gray behind her. Hundreds gathered, holding signs that read, "End bias now," and "Justice for all." The air smelled of wet pavement and coffee, the crowd's energy crackling like a storm. Amara wore her navy blazer, her braids pulled back, her face bare of makeup. She didn't need polish. She needed truth. Nia introduced her, voice booming through a megaphone. "Amara Ellison's here to tell you what happens when you stand up." The crowd cheered, their applause a lifeline. Amara stepped to the makeshift stage, a wooden platform strung with fairy lights, and gripped the mic. Her voice started soft, trembling, then grew steady. "I bought a first-class ticket," she said, eyes scanning the sea of faces. "Not to flex, but because I earned it. Worked nights, skipped meals, fought for every inch. And they tried to take it from me. Not just my seat, my name, my life." She told it all. The flight attendant's sneer, the guard's accusations, the video's lies, the job she lost, the brick through her window. The crowd gasped, murmured, some wiping tears. "This isn't just my story," she finished, voice breaking. "It's ours. They want us quiet, but we're done whispering." The plaza erupted, chants of, "Amara! Amara!" shaking the air. She stepped down, legs wobbly, Nia hugging her tight. Strangers pressed forward, offering thanks, sharing their own stories. A barista fired for attitude, a nurse ignored for promotions. Amara listened, her heart full. Her speech hit social media fast, clips spreading like wildfire. By evening it had 100,000 views, hashtags like "Their Stand with Amara" trending. Donations poured into a crowdfunding link Nia had set up. Thousands of dollars from strangers who believed her. "Legal fund," Nia grinned, checking her phone. "You're fighting back now, girl." Amara exhaled, the weight lifting. She'd turned her pain into power, rallied a city, maybe more. She could sue Cascade Airlines, expose Cassandra Holt, reclaim her life. For the first time in weeks, she felt unstoppable. Then the air shifted. A low rumble grew at the plaza's edge, voices sharp with anger. Amara turned, her pulse spiking. A group of counter-protesters shoved through, maybe 50 strong, their faces twisted with rage. They carried no signs, just fists and venom, their shouts cutting through the crowd's warmth. "Go home," one yelled, his voice thick with hate. "You don't belong here," another spat, aiming slurs at Amara that made her flinch. The rallygoers froze, some stepping back, others yelling back. Amara's eyes darted to Nia, who whispered, "Stay close." But the mob surged, targeting the stage. Wood splintered as they tore into the platform, fairy lights snapping under boots. Amara's notes scattered, her words trampled into the dirt. She backed away, heart pounding, as a man in a red cap lunged forward screaming, "You're the problem." Nia pulled her behind a cluster of allies, but the chaos spread. Bottles flew, one shattering near Amara's feet, glass grazing her ankle. She stumbled, pain shooting up her leg, but kept moving. The crowd was fracturing, screams drowning out chants. Where were the cops? She spotted two officers across the street, leaning against their car, watching like it was a show. No help, no surprise. Amara's allies formed a barrier, shouting for calm, but the mob didn't stop. They ripped banners, shoved people down, their slurs a relentless drumbeat. Amara's breath hitched. She'd seen hate online, but this was raw, physical, aimed at her skin. She thought of the brick, the note. This wasn't random. Her eyes caught a figure at the mob's edge, a woman in a tailored coat, blonde hair glinting under a street lamp. Cassandra Holt wasn't here. She was too smart for that. But her fingerprints were. Amara's gut screamed it. This was her doing, her allies sent to crush the rally's hope. The crowd scattered, allies dragging Amara toward an alley. She resisted, wanting to stay, to fight. But Nia hissed, "You're their target. Move!" They ducked behind a dumpster, the stench of garbage mixing with her fear. Sirens wailed, too late. Her phone buzzed, notifications piling up. She ignored, them crouching low, her ankle throbbing. The mob's shouts faded, police finally stepping in, but the damage was done. The plaza was trashed, her stage gone, her moment stolen. She thought it couldn't get worse. Then Nia gasped, staring at her phone. "Amara, look!" A new post was trending, a photo from the rally. Amara, mid-stride, looking furious as a cop stood nearby. The angle was wrong, twisted, making it seem like she'd swung at him. The caption read, "Violent protester attacks officer." Lies. She hadn't touched anyone. Comments exploded, calling her a thug, a criminal, worse. The post was from an account tied to a local news blog, one Amara recognized from her blacklist research, funded by Cascade's allies. Her speech, her truth, was buried under this new smear, the donations frozen as supporters doubted her. She sank against the alley wall, rain soaking her blazer. Sirens grew louder, boots pounding closer. "Amara Ellison!" a cop barked, flashlight, blinding her. "Hands up!" She stood, palms raised, heart hammering. Nia protested. She didn't do anything. But the officer ignored her, cuffs cold against Amara's wrists. "You're under arrest for assault," he said, voice flat. Assault. The word was a gut punch. The photo had done its job, framing her before she could blink. As they marched her to the squad car, the crowd's cheers from hours ago felt like a dream. She glanced at the ruined plaza, her notes sodden in the mud. Cassandra hadn't just broken her rally. She'd caged her, Amara Ellison's wrists ached, the handcuffs biting into her skin as the squad car's lights flashed red and blue through Seattle's rain-soaked streets. The cop's radio crackled, but his words from the plaza echoed louder. Assault, a lie, built on that doctored photo from the rally, showing her lunging at an officer she'd never touched. Her stomach churned, the memory of the mob's slurs and the trashed stage still raw. She'd poured her heart into that speech, turned her pain into power, only to end up here. Caged, branded a criminal. The car lurched to a stop outside the county jail, a gray slab of a building that swallowed her whole. Inside, the air was thick with bleach and despair. A guard with a buzz cut and a sneer processed her, his eyes flicking over her like she was trash. First-class girl, huh? He muttered, tossing her ID onto the counter. Look at you now. Amara's jaw tightened, but she kept silent, her sneakers squeaking on the scuffed linoleum. She knew that tone, had heard it on the plane, from the airport guards in every room where her skin made her a target. He shoved her into a holding cell, the door clanging shut. The bench was cold, the walls scratched with names and curses. She sat, head high, refusing to let them see her break. Hours dragged, each one heavier than the last. Her phone was gone, confiscated with her wallet and keys. No way to call Nia, no way to fight the lie spreading online. That photo was everywhere by now, twisting her rally's hope into another smear. She pictured Cassandra Holt somewhere plush, sipping wine, smirking at how easily she'd flipped the script. Amara's hands balled into fists. She'd been through too much. Her mom's late-night shifts, college loans, years proving she belonged. To let this woman bury her. But doubt crept in, cold and sharp. What if this was the end? A new guard appeared, a woman with tired eyes, and a clipboard. Ellison, you've got a public defender. Amara stood, hope flickering. Maybe someone would listen. They led her to a small room, all concrete and flickering lights, where a man in a cheap suit waited. He was young, maybe 30, with messy hair and a nervous smile. I'm Derek, he said, extending a hand she didn't take. I'm here to get you out. She nodded, sitting across from him, the metal chair icy through her jeans. That photo's fake, she started, voice steady. I didn't touch anyone. There's footage from the rally. Check the live streams. Derek scribbled notes, nodding too fast. Got it. Sounds like a setup. We'll push for dismissal. Maybe sue for defamation later. His confidence felt like a lifeline. She laid out everything. The flight, the video, her suspension, the brick, the mob. His pen flew, his eyes widening at Cassandra's name. Cascade Airlines? That's big money. But don't worry, I've handled cases like this. Amara exhaled, her shoulders easing. Someone believed her. He promised a bail hearing tomorrow, said the charges were flimsy. You'll be out soon, he grinned, packing up. She almost smiled back. Almost. Back in the cell, she curled up on the bench, replaying Derek's words. Out soon. She could. Rebuild. Rally her supporters. Expose the truth. The guard's taunts echoed. First-class girl. But she shoved them down. She'd grown up dodging worse, from teachers who assumed she'd failed to co-workers who whispered she was diversity. Higher. This was just another hurdle. She closed her eyes, exhaustion pulling her under, dreaming of her mom's voice. You're tougher than they know, baby. Morning came, gray light seeping through a high window. The same guard banged on the bars. Ellison, move it. Hearing time. The courtroom was a blur of wood paneling and bored faces. Derek was there, tie crooked, whispering assurances. The judge, an older white guy with glasses perched low, skimmed papers. Assault on an officer, he read, voice flat. Derek jumped, inciting the rally's chaos, the photo's inconsistencies. Amara stood tall, her blazer wrinkled but her gaze steady. The judge nodded, barely looking up. Bail granted. $5,000. Her heart leapt. She didn't have that kind of cash, but Nia's crowdfunding had raised more. She was getting out. By noon, she was free, stepping into the drizzle outside the jail. Nia waited, arms wide, pulling her into a hug. Told you we'd get you, she said, eyes shining. Rally supporters had pooled the bail, their donations, a shield against the system. Amara's throat tightened. "Thank you," she whispered, climbing into Nia's beat-up sedan. They drove to her apartment, the cardboard-covered window a grim welcome. "We're suing," Nia said, pulling up the crowdfunding page, now at $20,000. "That photo's a lie, and we'll prove it." Amara nodded, hope sparking. Again. Derek's plan, the crowd's support. She was back in the fight. Then her phone, returned at the jail, buzzed with a news alert. She tapped it, expecting rally updates. Instead, a tabloid headline screamed, "Protesters' secret plot exposed." Below it, screenshots of her texts, to Nia, to her sister, even to her mom years ago, twisted to paint her as a schemer. One, ripped from context, read, "I'll make them pay." It was from a vent about her suspension, not a plan. Another, to Nia, said, "We need to hit back hard," now framed as a call to violence. The article claimed a source close to the case leaked them. Amara's blood ran cold. Derek. He was the only one she'd told everything to, the only one with access. Her hands shook as she scrolled. The comments were vicious, her supporters wavering. "Thought she was innocent," one wrote. "Liar," spat another. The crowdfunding page slowed, donations stalling as doubt spread. Nia cursed, slamming the dashboard. "How'd they get your texts?" Amara didn't answer, her mind racing. Derek's nervous smile, his quick notes. He'd played her. She checked his firm's website, digging deeper. A buried link tied his office to a legal group funded by Cascade's allies. Cassandra's web, tighter than ever. She'd bought. Her defender turned her trust into a trap. Amara stepped into her apartment, glass crunching underfoot. The brick still sat there, but it wasn't the worst of it anymore. She dropped her bag, moving to her bedroom, needing something solid to anchor her. She opened her closet to grab a sweater and froze. A tiny red light blinked from the corner, hidden in a stack of books. A camera. Small, sleek, professional. Her breath stopped. She yanked it out, wires dangling, its lens a cold eye that had watched her every move. Her bed, her desk, her tears. It had seen it all. She smashed it on the floor, plastic cracking, but the damage was done. Her knees buckled, the room spinning. Cassandra wasn't just ruining her life. She was inside it, peeling back every layer. The texts, the camera, they weren't random. They were surgical, designed to break her spirit. Amara sank to the bed, clutching the broken device, her pulse a drumbeat in her ears. She'd thought jail was rock bottom, that Derek's help was her way up. Now she saw the truth. Every step she took, Cassandra was 3 ahead, waiting to strike. Her apartment, her sanctuary, was a stage, and she was the fool in the spotlight. Amara Ellison's world had shrunk to a single truth. Nowhere was safe. The smashed camera lay in pieces on her apartment floor, its red eye dead, but its betrayal alive in her gut. Cassandra Holt had watched her sleep, her tears, her rage, every private moment stolen to tighten the noose. Seattle's rain battered the cardboard over her broken window, the damp creeping into her bones. Her phone was off, her apartment a trap, her life a maze with Cassandra at every turn. Jail, leaked texts, now this. Amara's hands trembled as she swept the camera's wreckage into a trash bag, but her mind was sharp. She couldn't stay here. She wouldn't break. She grabbed a backpack, stuffing it with essentials, laptop, charger, a change of clothes. Her studio, once a haven, felt like a coffin now. The brick's threat, leave town, echoed. But running meant surrender. Instead, she'd go underground, vanish from Cassandra's radar, fight on her own terms. She thought of Kai, a hacker, friend from college who'd always danced on the edge of trouble. He'd offered help when her rally speech went viral, before the world turned on her. If anyone could dig into Cassandra's secrets, it was him. She scribbled a note, "Gone for a bit. Don't worry," and left it for Nia, then slipped out into the night. Kai's place was across town, a basement in a sketchy part of Seattle where neon signs flickered and alleys smelled of stale beer. Amara kept her hood up, the rain masking her steps as she dodged streetlights. Every shadow felt like a threat, every car a tale. The camera had shattered her trust. Cassandra's reach was endless, her spies anywhere. She knocked on Kai's door, a steel slab covered in graffiti. He opened it, his lanky frame filling the gap, eyes scanning her soaked figure. "Damn, Amara, you look like hell." She forced a grim smile. "Feel like it too. Can I crash?" Inside, the basement was a chaos of screens and wires, pizza boxes stacked like trophies. Kai's dreads were tied back, his fingers already dancing over a keyboard. "Heard about the rally," he said, tossing her a towel. "And that jail stunt. You're a magnet for trouble." She dried her face, sinking onto a battered couch. "It's not random. Cassandra Holt's orchestrating it. She's got cameras in my place, Kai. I need to hit back." His eyes lit up, a grin spreading. "Oh, we're hacking a corporate queen? Say less." Amara leaned in, her fear hardening into purpose. She told him everything. The plane, the blacklist, the mob, the texts. Kai whistled. "She's a beast, but beasts bleed." They worked through the night, Kai's screens glowing with code and shady forums. Amara fueled them with coffee, her brain wired despite exhaustion. Kai traced the camera's signal to a shell company, then deeper, unearthing financial trails linking Cassandra to a lobbying group called Pinnacle Trust. "This ain't just airline stuff," he muttered, pulling up documents. "They push. Policies, grease palms, racist garbage too. Anti-immigrant bills, prison contracts, Holt's their bankroll." Amara's pulse raced. This was bigger than her, a machine of hate with Cassandra at its heart. They found emails, sloppy ones, tying Pinnacle to the rally's mob, proving it wasn't random. "We leak this," she said, voice low. "Burn her down." Kai hesitated, his grin fading. "This'll paint a target on you, Amara. Bigger than before." She met his eyes, unflinching. "I'm already marked. Let's make it worth it." They polished the leak, screenshots, emails, a timeline of Cassandra's moves, all anonymous. Kai sent it to a whistleblower site, the kind that thrived on corporate blood. By dawn, it was live, spreading fast. News blogs picked it up, headlining, "Airline exec tied to hate group." Social media buzzed, "Hackern Cassandra Holt exposed" trending. Amara watched the numbers climb, her chest tight with hope. Protests sparked outside Cascade's headquarters, signs demanding answers. She'd struck deep. Cassandra's empire was wobbling. She leaned back, exhausted but electric. She'd done it. She'd turned the hunter into prey. Then Kai's screen flashed red, a security alert. "Shit," he hissed, fingers flying. "Someone's tracing us." Amara's stomach dropped. The leak was supposed to be untraceable, Kai's tech bulletproof. But Cassandra wasn't sloppy. A news alert pinged, FBI investigating cyber attack on Cascade Airlines linked to known agitator Amara Ellison. Her face was back online, now as a cybercriminal. Kai cursed, shutting down servers, but it was too late. Sirens wailed outside, close, too close. "They're coming," he said, grabbing a bag. "Move." Amara froze, the weight of it crashing. Down. Her win, her strike. It had flipped on her, faster than she could blink. They bolted up the stairs, rain slapping their faces as they hit the alley. Kai pointed to a side street. "Split up. I'll draw them off." She nodded, heart hammering, and ran, her sneakers pounding wet pavement. Shouts echoed behind her, flashlights cutting through the dark. A SWAT van screeched around the corner, its doors flying open. Amara ducked behind a dumpster, her breath ragged, the stench of rot choking her. Boots thundered past, radios crackling with her name. She'd exposed Cassandra, shaken her throne, but at what cost? Her face was on every screen now, not as a hero, but a fugitive. She waited, muscles screaming, until the sounds faded. The alley was empty, rain pooling around her. She stood, soaked and shivering, her backpack heavy with dread. Her phone was back at Kai's, lost in the chaos. She was alone, cut off, hunted. Then a burner phone buzzed in her pocket, one Kai had slipped her hours ago. She answered, expecting him. Instead, a voice purred, smooth and venomous. I own this city, Amara. Cassandra. Amara's blood ran cold, the rain forgotten. You think your little leak hurts me? You're nothing. Run all you want, I'll find you. The line went dead, leaving Amara staring into the dark, her victory ashes in her mouth. She stumbled forward, the city a blur of neon and shadow. Kai was gone, maybe caught, maybe worse. The leak had worked. Cassandra's secrets were out, but it hadn't saved her. It had made her a target, bigger, brighter, deadlier. She thought of her mom, cleaning airport floors at midnight, whispering, "Keep going, baby." Amara's fist clenched. She'd gone underground to fight, but Cassandra had turned the ground itself into a trap. Every step now was a gamble, every breath a defiance. She slipped into another alley, the burner phone heavy in her hand, Cassandra's, voice looping in her mind. Nothing. She'd show her what nothing could do. Amara Ellison was a ghost in her own city. Seattle's rain-soaked alleys were her only refuge, the neon glow of bars and bodegas, a cruel reminder of the life she'd lost. The SWAT raid on Kai's basement still burned in her mind. Sirens. Flashlights. Cassandra Holt's voice on that burner phone, cold as steel. I own this city. Amara's sneakers squished through puddles, her backpack heavy with the weight of being hunted. The leak she and Kai had dropped, proof of Cassandra's ties to a racist lobbying group, had lit a fire, with protests raging outside Cascade Airline's headquarters. But it had also painted a bullseye on her back, labeled a cyber criminal. Her face was plastered on every newsstand, a fugitive with nowhere to hide. She ducked into a shadowed doorway, catching her breath, her heart a drumbeat against the drizzle. She'd struck at Cassandra's empire, but the beast wasn't bleeding. It was biting back. Her burner phone was her only lifeline, its screen cracked but functional. Kai was gone. Maybe arrested, maybe worse. She couldn't risk checking on him, not with the city crawling with eyes. Her plan was simple: stay low, find a crack in Cassandra's armor, hit harder. The leak had shaken things. Social media was alive with hired Cassandra Holt exposed, and a few bold reporters were digging. But it wasn't enough. Cassandra was too entrenched, her power woven into Seattle's corporate veins. Amara needed something bigger, something undeniable. She remembered a tip from a rally supporter, a journalist named Lena who'd offered to amplify her story. Lena was risky. Trust was a luxury Amara couldn't afford. But she was out of options. She slipped into a 24-hour diner, the kind with sticky booths and coffee that tasted like regret. Keeping her hood up, she slid into a corner, ordering a black coffee to blend in. The TV above the counter blared news about her cyber attack, her mugshot flashing next to words like dangerous and unstable. She gripped the mug, her knuckles tight. Dangerous. She'd been a data analyst, crunching numbers, dreaming of a corner office. Now she was this, a caricature built on lies. Her burner buzzed with a text from a blocked number. Midnight. Pier 57. Lena. Her stomach twisted. A trap? Maybe. But sitting still meant death. She paid and left, the rain her only cover. Pier 57 was a tourist trap by day, all Ferris wheels and seafood joints. But at midnight, it was a skeleton of itself. The Puget Sound lapping black and endless. Amara arrived early, scoping the shadows for cops or worse. Lena appeared, a short woman with sharp eyes and a leather jacket, her notepad clutched like a shield. "You're Amara," she said, voice low. "Heard you're in deep." Amara nodded, scanning for movement. "You said you could help. What's the play?" Lena leaned in, her words rushed. "Cascade's selling to a conglomerate, Vanguard Corp. Old boys club, loves traditional values. Holt's pitching it as a merger, but it's a takeover. They'll gut the airline, keep her in power, and she's using your scandal to distract." Amara's pulse quickened. A sale meant Cassandra was consolidating, fortifying her throne. "Proof?" she asked. Lena pulled a USB drive from her pocket. "Emails, contracts, board minutes. Got it from an insider. It's dirty. Vanguard's got ties to the same lobbying group you exposed." Amara took the drive, its weight heavier than it should be. This could end it. Show the world Cassandra wasn't just cruel, she was corrupt. Why risk this? She asked. Lena's eyes softened. My brother got fired from Cascade for not fitting in. Brown skin, big dreams. Sound familiar? Amara nodded. Too familiar. She needed to move fast. A gala was happening tomorrow. Cascade's annual shareholder bash, where Cassandra would seal the Vanguard deal. If Amara could crash it, leak the truth, she'd turn the board against her. But getting in was suicide. A fugitive at a black tie event? She'd need a disguise, a plan, guts. Back at a flophouse she'd crashed. In, she dyed her braids black, borrowed a catering uniform from a sympathetic motel clerk. The USB burned in her pocket, Lena's files her only weapon. By evening she was at the gala venue, a glittering downtown hotel with chandeliers like frozen fireworks. She slipped in through the kitchen, trays of shrimp shielding her face, her heart pounding as she blended with the staff. The ballroom was a sea of suits and gowns. Cassandra at its center, her blonde hair sleek, her smile a blade. She worked the crowd, all charm and lies, pitching Vanguard as Cascade's future. Amara's hands shook as she poured wine, her eyes locked on the exec. She overheard whispers, board members nervous about the protests, shareholders spooked by the leak. Cassandra waved it off, blaming radical agitators. Amara's blood boiled. That's me, she thought, refilling a glass. She spotted a tech booth, projectors running the gala's slideshow. If she could hack it, show Lena's files, the room would implode. She waited for a lull, then slipped to the booth, her catering badge her only cover. The tech guy was distracted, flirting with a guest. Amara plugged in the USB, her fingers flying to override the slides. Emails flashed. Cassandra promising Vanguard cultural alignment, code for bigotry. Contracts showed millions funneled to Pinnacle Trust. The screen lit up, gasps rippling through the crowd. What is this? A shareholder barked. Cassandra froze, her face a mask of fury. Amara sent the files to Lena, who'd promised to blast them online. Protests erupted outside, chants of "no sale" shaking the windows. Amara's chest swelled. She'd done it. The deal was crumbling, Cassandra exposed mid-toast. She slipped, toward the exit, victory buzzing in her veins. The crowd was chaos, board members shouting, phones out. Lena's blog posted the files, views spiking by the second. Amara thought she'd won, that this was the blow to end it. Then the projector flickered, a new slide appearing. Not hers. It was her mugshot, the cybercriminal label bold, with text, Amara Ellison's fake news plot. The room turned, eyes on her despite her disguise. Cassandra's voice boomed from a mic, calm but venomous. This is the work of a fugitive, spreading lies to destabilize us. Security, find her. Amara bolted, heart hammering as guards swarmed. She ditched the tray, weaving through kitchens, her uniform ripping on a cart. Outside, protesters cheered, unaware of her peril. She called Lena from a payphone, voice shaking. It's out, but they flipped it. Lena cursed. Holt's PR team's calling it a hoax. I'm fired, Amara. They wiped the files from our servers. Amara's knees buckled, the city spinning. Fired. Wiped. Her evidence, her strike, gone. Cassandra hadn't just countered. She'd erased the truth, turned Amara's weapon into dust. She hung up, rain soaking her, the gala's lights mocking her from afar. She'd shaken the beast, but it was still standing, and now it was hungrier. Hold up, let's unpack this. Have you ever poured everything into a fight only to see it twisted against you? Drop a comment with number 1 if you've felt that gut punch of being silenced, like Amara just did. It's wild how power can rewrite the truth, isn't it? Smash that like button if you're cheering for her to keep swinging, and subscribe to catch every turn in this battle. This story's heating up and you won't believe what's coming. Speaking of, what's Amara got left to lose and how's she gonna hit back now? Amara Ellison was running out of shadows to hide in. Seattle's rain stung her face as she stumbled away from the gala's chaos, the hotel's golden lights fading behind her. Her catering uniform hung torn on her frame, the USB drive with Lena's files now useless. Cassandra Holt had turned her evidence into fake news, fired her ally, and erased the truth with a flick of her wrist. Amara's mugshot had flashed across the gala's screen, branding her a liar to a room of power brokers. Protesters still chanted outside Cascade Airlines headquarters, but their fire felt distant, drowned by the weight of her failure. She was a fugitive, hunted. Her strike against Cassandra flipped into another trap. Her sneakers splashed through puddles, each step heavier with the realization. She was alone, and Cassandra was closing in. Her burner phone was nearly dead, its cracked screen flickering in the dark. Kai was gone. Lena was out, her apartment a violated shell. She couldn't go back, not with cameras, bricks, and who knew what else waiting. Her mind spun, grasping for a lifeline. Then she thought of Lena. Not the journalist, but her sister, Lena Ellison, who lived an hour away in Tacoma. They hadn't spoken in years, not since a fight over Amara's big city dreams left them raw. Lena was stubborn, grounded, a nurse who'd stayed close to their roots while Amara chased skylines. But she was family, the only anchor left. Amara found a late-night bus, its fluorescent hum swallowing her as she sank into a seat. Hood up, the city blurring past. She needed refuge, a moment to breathe, to plan her next move. Tacoma's quiet streets felt like another world, the air thick with pine and salt. Lena's house was a modest bungalow, porch light glowing like a promise. Amara knocked, her heart in her throat. The door creaked open, revealing Lena, taller, with their mom's eyes, her scrubs wrinkled from a double shift. "Amara?" she said, voice sharp with shock. "What the hell are you doing here?" Amara swallowed, rain dripping from her hood. "I need help, Lena. I'm in trouble." Lena's gaze softened, just a fraction, and she stepped aside. "Get in before you catch your death." The living room smelled of lavender and coffee, photos of their childhood lining the walls. Amara and Lena at a Chicago fair, their mom smiling between them. Lena handed her a towel, her silence heavy. "Saw you on the news," she said finally, folding her arms. "Cybercriminal? Really?" Amara shook her head, sinking onto the couch. "It's lies. All of it." She spilled everything, the plane, the rally, the leak, the gala. Lena listened, her face unreadable. But when Amara mentioned Cassandra Holt, her eyes narrowed. "That woman's poison," she muttered. "But you're in deep, sis. What's your plan?" Amara exhaled, the question a weight. "I need to hit her where it hurts, something legal, permanent." Lena nodded, grabbing her laptop. "Then let's dig." They spent hours scouring public records, Amara's data skills meshing with Lena's grit. They found gold in Cascade's old HR files, buried on an archived server. Termination letters, dozens of them, signed by Cassandra herself. Black employees, Latino workers, anyone not fitting the brand, fired with vague excuses. "This is a pattern," Amara said, voice low. "Discrimination systemic. We can sue. Expose her for real." Lena's eyes lit up. "Class action. Hit her whole empire." They worked past dawn, drafting a legal outline, contacting a lawyer from Lena's hospital union who'd take the case pro bono. Amara felt alive again, the sister she'd lost, now her partner in battle. They laughed, cried, remembered their mom's late-night talks about fighting fair but fierce. The lawsuit could topple Cassandra, force accountability, maybe even clear Amara's name. She hugged Lena, her heart full. "I'm sorry I stayed away," she whispered. Lena squeezed. "Back. You're here now, that's enough." Amara thought she'd found her footing, a way to win. She was wrong. Her burner buzzed with an alert, a news push from a local blog. She tapped it, expecting rally updates. Instead, it was a post titled, "Fugitives Family Harboring Trouble." Lena's address was listed, her photo splashed next to Amara's. Mugshot, with lies about aiding a criminal. Comments poured in, vicious and unhinged, calling Lena a traitor, worse. Amara's breath stopped. "Doxed!" she choked out, showing Lena. Her sister's face paled, but before she could speak, headlights flashed outside. Voices shouted, loud, angry, a crowd forming at the edge of the lawn. Amara peeked through the blinds. A mob, maybe 20 strong, holding torches, their faces twisted with hate. "Get out, Ellison!" one yelled, a slur slicing through the night. Amara's blood ran cold. This wasn't random. It was Cassandra's hand, the same venom as the rally mob now aimed at her family. Lena grabbed her arm. "Back door, now!" They ran, but the crowd was faster, circling the house. A bottle crashed through the window, flames licking the curtains. Lena screamed, shoving Amara toward the basement. "Hide!" Smoke choked the air, fire spreading fast. Amara stumbled down the stairs, coughing, her mind screaming. Lena's house, her safety, her sister, was burning because of her. They crouched in the dark, the crackle of flames deafening. Lena dialed 911, her voice shaking but firm. "My house is on fire. Mob outside. Hurry." Amara clutched her hand, guilt tearing her apart. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Lena's eyes were hard, but she squeezed back. "Not your fault." Sirens wailed, distant but closing. The mob's shouts faded, scared off by the noise, but the damage was done. Firefighters arrived, dousing the blaze, but the bungalow was gutted. Walls charred, photos ash, Lena's life in ruins. They emerged into dawn's gray light, soot-streaked and broken. Neighbors stared, some kind, others cold. A cop took their statement, his eyes flicking to Amara like she was the spark. Lena turned to her, face tight with pain. "You brought this here," she said, voice low. "I love you, but I can't do this." Amara's heart cracked. "Lena, I didn't know." Her sister cut her off, eyes wet. "You never know. You fight, and I pay. Go, Amara. Fix this alone." She walked away, joining a neighbor, leaving Amara in the wreckage. The lawsuit, their bond. It was ash now, like the house. Amara stood frozen, the lawyer's number useless in her pocket. Cassandra hadn't just attacked her. She'd taken her family, her last anchor. And Amara hadn't seen it coming. She grabbed her backpack, the only thing salvaged, and walked, the city waking around her. Her sister's words burned. Fix this alone. She'd wanted to fight together, to win for them both. But Cassandra had twisted even that. The mob wasn't. Random. Those blogs, those torches were her doing. A message carved in fire. No one you love is safe. Amara's fist clenched, her grief sharpening into rage. She was alone, yes, but not done. Cassandra thought she'd broken her, but she'd only lit a fuse. Amara didn't know how, but she'd make her pay, even if it cost everything. The morning, air was cold, Tacoma's ruins behind her, and somewhere Cassandra was planning her next strike. Amara Ellison walked alone through Tacoma's dawn, the acrid smell of her sister's burned house clinging to her clothes. Lena's words, "Fix this alone," cut deeper than the cold biting her skin. The mob's torches, the doxing, the flames that gutted their family's refuge. It was all Cassandra Holt's doing, a calculated strike to strip Amara of her last ally. Her backpack sagged on her shoulders, the only thing she'd salvaged from the wreckage. Seattle loomed ahead, a city that had once held her dreams, but now hunted her like prey. Branded a fugitive, a cybercriminal, a thug, she had no home, no job, no sister. Yet her pulse thrummed with defiance. Cassandra thought she'd won, but Amara wasn't finished. Not yet. She caught a bus back to Seattle, keeping her hood low, the driver's glance lingering too long. Her burner phone was down to 10%, useless for anything but emergencies. Lena's rejection had left her hollow, but it also cleared her vision. No more leaning on others. Every move now was hers alone. She needed a stage, a way to scream the truth louder than Cassandra's lies. The rally was gone, the gala a bust, her evidence erased. But the internet still buzzed with Ryer Cassandra Holt exposed, pockets of supporters who hadn't forgotten her fight. Somewhere in that noise was a spark she could fan into fire. At a public library, she slipped into a corner with a clunky computer, its keys sticky from use. The news was grim. Her cyber attack label stuck, The gala's leaked files dismissed as a hoax. Cascade Airlines spun it masterfully, Cassandra's PR team painting her as a victim of radical sabotage. Amara's jaw tightened. Radical. She'd been a data analyst, not a revolutionary, until Cassandra made her one. She checked encrypted messages from rally allies, finding a lead. Marcus Tate, an activist with a national platform, hosting a conference, downtown tomorrow. He'd tweeted support for her, calling her a symbol of resistance. Risky, but maybe he could amplify her voice. She emailed him from a burner account, brief and cautious. "I'm Amara, need to speak." Truth about Cascade. His reply came fast, enthusiastic. "Heard your story. Let's shine a light. Meet me at the conference center noon." Her gut twisted. Trust had burned her before, with Derek's leaked texts, with Lena's house. But Marcus's following was huge, his TED Talks viral. If he backed her, she could reach millions, maybe force the feds to dig into Cassandra's real crimes. She spent the night in a shelter, the hum of strangers' snores drowning her fear. Morning came, and she cleaned up in a bathroom, splashing water on her face, her reflection fierce despite the bags under her eyes. She'd speak, and the world would listen. The conference center was a glass fortress, banners proclaiming "Equity Now" in bold red. Crowds milled, all suits and idealism, the air thick with coffee and ambition. Amara wore a borrowed jacket, her dyed hair tucked under a cap, blending as best she could. Marcus met her in a side hall, his smile wide, his locks swinging as he shook her hand. "Amara Ellison," he said, voice warm. "You're the real deal. Let's get you on stage." Her nerves buzzed, but his confidence was contagious. He prepped her fast, slotting her for a keynote spot, 10 minutes to tell her truth. "Hit them hard," he said, clapping her shoulder. "We're changing the game today." Backstage, her heart pounded, the crowd's murmur a roar in her ears. She clutched her notes, scribbled on library paper, the plane, the brick, the fire, Cassandra's. Marcus introduced her, his voice booming over the mic. "This woman's faced hell for standing up, Amara Ellison." Applause erupted, a wave that carried her to the podium. She looked out, a sea of faces, activists, execs, cameras streaming live. Her voice shook at first, then steadied. "I'm not a criminal," she said, eyes burning. "I'm a black woman who dared to exist. Cascade Airlines tried to erase me, but I'm still here." She laid it bare, every injustice, every lie, naming Cassandra Holt as the architect. The crowd leaned in, gasps punctuating her words, phones up, live streams, spiking. She ended with a call to action. "Don't let them silence us. Dig into Cascade. Demand the truth." The room exploded, standing ovations shaking the rafters. Sponsors approached backstage, pledging millions to her cause, legal funds, campaigns, investigations. Marcus hugged her, grinning. "You did it, Amara. This is huge." Her chest swelled, hope flooding back. The live stream hit 1 million views, trending globally. News outlets picked it up, calling her a whistleblower, not a fugitive. She thought she'd broken through, that Cassandra's grip was slipping. For one shining moment, she was unstoppable, the world finally hearing her roar. Then Marcus's smile changed. He stepped to a side mic, the crowd still buzzing, and raised a hand. "Hold up, folks," he said, his tone shifting, performative. "There's more to this story." Amara froze, her gut screaming. He pulled out a tablet, projecting a video to the giant screen. It was her, backstage minutes ago, edited to show her yelling, cursing, slamming a fist on a table. None of it real. The audio was warped, her voice snarling, "I'll burn Cascade down, whatever it takes." The crowd gasped, murmurs turning, hostile. Amara's mouth opened, but no words came. She hadn't said that, hadn't done that. The video looped, her fake rage seared into every eye. Marcus turned to her, his face a mask of fake shock. "Amara, we trusted you." The livestream chat erupted, calling her a fraud, a plant, worse. Sponsors backed away, their pledges vanishing like smoke. She stumbled back, the stage tilting under her. "It's not me," she choked out, but the mic was off, her voice lost. Security moved in, their hands rough on her arms. The crowd booed, their cheers now venom. Marcus leaned close, his whisper cold. Should have stayed quiet. Her blood ran cold. He wasn't an ally. He was Cassandra's mole. Her trap sprung in front of millions. They dragged her through a service exit, the conference center's roar fading to silence. Outside, rain pelted her, the city a gray blur. She broke free, running, her cap lost, hair soaked. Her burner buzzed. She'd forgotten to ditch it. A voicemail played, Cassandra's voice silk and ice. "You're nothing, Amara. Never forget it." The words were a blade, sharper than the mob's torches, deeper than Lena's rejection. Amara sank against a wall, the live stream still burning online, her truth twisted into madness. Marcus's betrayal wasn't just personal, it was global, her name now a synonym for deceit. She clutched the phone, her breath ragged. The conference had been her shot, her chance to shift the war. Instead, Cassandra had turned her voice into a weapon, her hope into ash. She thought of her mom, scrubbing floors, whispering, "You're enough." Was she? Amara stood, legs shaking, the city towering over her. Nothing. Cassandra wanted her, to believe it, to crumble. But Amara's fist tightened, her grief fueling fire. She'd lost everything, her job, her sister, her name. All she had left was fight, and she'd use it, even if it killed her. Amara Ellison was a shadow carved from pain. Seattle's rain-soaked streets swallowed her as she fled the conference center, Marcus's betrayal burning in her chest. That staged video, her face twisted into a lie, screaming words she'd never said, had turned a million supporters into a mob of doubters. The livestream was still trending, her name now a slur for fraud, her speech drowned by boos. Cassandra Holt's voice echoed from that voicemail. "You're nothing." Amara's sneakers slapped puddles, her dyed hair plastered to her face, the city a cage closing in. She'd lost her sister, her allies, her truth, everything but the fire in her gut. Cassandra wanted her broken, but Amara wasn't done swinging. She ducked into a 24-hour laundromat, its fluorescent buzz a fleeting shelter. The air smelled of detergent and despair, dryers thumping like her pulse. Her burner phone was dead, her backpack light with nothing but a waterlogged notebook. No Kai, no Lena, no Marcus, just her against an empire. She sank onto a plastic chair, ignoring the clerk's wary glance. Her reflection in the glass door was a stranger's, hollow eyes, jaw set like stone. She'd been a data analyst once, crunching numbers, dreaming big. Now she was a fugitive, hunted for daring to exist. But giving up wasn't her blood. Her mom's voice whispered from memory, "They can't take what's inside you, baby." A flicker of hope sparked, an old email she'd skimmed in Lena's basement before the fire. Their mom, a Cascade cleaner who died too young, had left a small trust, buried in legal jargon Amara barely understood. It wasn't much, a few $1,000s, but it was hers, untouched since she'd turned 18. She'd ignored it, too proud to lean on scraps. Now it was all she had. If she could access it, maybe she could buy time, a lawyer, a shot to fight back. The library's computers were her only way in, but every public move was a gamble. Cops, cameras, Cassandra's spies everywhere. She stood, zipping her jacket. Risk or rot. No choice. The library was a gray slab downtown, its warmth a stark contrast to the drizzle outside. Amara kept her cap low, slipping to a corner terminal. Her fingers shook as she logged into an old account, praying it wasn't flagged. The trust was there, $5,000 wired to a dusty bank she'd forgotten. Not enough for a life, but enough for a spark. She researched Cascade Airlines, her data instincts kicking in. Its stock was shaky, rattled by protests and her leaks even if Cassandra spun them as lies. Small investors were dumping shares, scared of the noise. An idea hit, reckless but bold. Buy those shares, quietly, through proxies. If she owned enough, she could crash a board meeting, force them to hear her. She spent hours weaving a plan, using the library's Wi-Fi to set up anonymous accounts. The trust was her seed, but she needed more. She emailed rally stragglers, diehards who'd stuck by her post-conference, pitching a justice fund. A few sent cash, hundreds here, thousands there, trusting her name despite the smears. By nightfall, she'd pooled $10,000, enough to buy a sliver of Cascade stock through a shell company Kai had once shown her how to fake. It was a long shot, but every share was a vote, a whisper in rooms Cassandra controlled. Amara worked past midnight, the library's hum her only company, her moves surgical, invisible. She was no hacker, but she was smart, and smart was enough. Days blurred into nights, Amara bouncing between shelters and libraries, a ghost buying power penny by penny. Cascade's board meeting was a week away, a closed-door affair where Cassandra would tighten her grip. Amara's proxies amassed shares, 0.1%, then 0.5%, creeping toward influence. She lived on coffee and spite, her body aching but her mind razor-sharp. The stock buys were her secret, a knife she'd plunge when the moment came. She imagined facing Cassandra, laying out her crimes, watching the board turn. It kept her moving, kept her sane. By the meeting's eve, she owned 2%, small but loud enough to get a seat. She stole a blazer from a thrift bin, ironed it in a motel sink, her reflection fierce despite the bruises under her eyes. The boardroom was in Cascade's headquarters, a glass tower that screamed untouchable. Amara walked in bold, her fake ID a flimsy shield, her shares her real armor. Security scanned her, oblivious. She was just another investor, not the fugitive on their screens. The room was mahogany and arrogance. 12 suits around a table, Cassandra at the head, her blonde hair gleaming like a crown. Amara took a seat, pulse hammering, her 2% a grenade in her pocket. Cassandra opened with a smirk, dismissing the recent noise as activist nonsense. Our fundamentals are strong, she purred, slides showing profits over truth. Amara waited, her moment ticking closer. When the floor opened for comments, she stood, voice steady. I'm here for justice, she said, eyes locked on Cassandra. Gasps rippled, her face clicked, the fugitive unmasked. She didn't pause, spilling everything. The firings, the lobbying, the lies, her data backing every word. You've rigged this company against people like me, she finished. But I own a piece now. You can't silence that. The board shifted, murmurs growing. A gray-haired man leaned forward, brow furrowed. These are serious claims, Ms. Ellison. Amara's heart leapt. They were listening. She slid a USB of her proof, stock records, HR files, across the table. Cassandra's face was stone, but her eyes burned. For a moment, Amara thought she'd won, that the tide was turning. The chairman called a recess, promising review. She exhaled, shaky but alive, the room's air electric with doubt. She'd cracked Cassandra's fortress, planted a seed that could grow. Or so she believed. Then Cassandra stood, her smile a blade. A word, before we pause. She clicked. A remote and the screen lit up, not with Amara's files, but a vote tally. Our shares are secure, she said, voice silk. A loyal majority stands with me. The numbers were wrong. Amara's proxies, her 2%, were gone, swallowed by reallocations. Whispers confirmed it. Board allies, bribed overnight, had flipped their votes. Cassandra's gaze cut to Amara, triumphant. You thought you'd play here? Amateur? Security surged, hands clamping Amara's arms. The board watched, some uneasy, others smug. She struggled, shouting, "Check the trades, she's cheating." But the USB lay untouched, her proof ignored. Cassandra leaned close as they dragged her out, her whisper venomous. I'll bury you next. The doors slammed, the tower spitting Amara into the rain. Her shares, her plan, her voice, stolen in a rigged game. She stood, soaked and shaking, the headquarters looming like a tomb. She'd fought to the top only to fall harder, Cassandra's grip tighter than ever. Amara Ellison stood drenched outside Cascade Airline's glass tower, the rain washing away the last of her hope. The boardroom's rigged vote still stung. Her shares, her proof, her voice, all snuffed out by Cassandra Holt's bribes. Security had tossed her into the street like trash. Cassandra's whisper, "I'll bury you next," a promise heavier than the storm. Seattle's skyline loomed, cold and indifferent. A city that had once been hers, now a battlefield where she bled at every turn. Her sister was gone, her allies crushed, her name a curse. Yet her hands clenched, nails digging into palms. She'd lost everything, but surrender wasn't her language. Cassandra wanted her buried. She'd dig herself out, one way or another. Her backpack was soaked, the thrift store blazer torn, her burner phone her only lifeline. She ducked into an alley, the city's pulse muffled by brick and shadow. The board meeting had been her shot to flip the game, to make the suit see Cassandra's rot. Instead, it had tightened the noose, her fugitive label now cemented, her 2% stake stolen in a blink. She needed a new play, something reckless, something Cassandra couldn't predict. Her mind churned, sifting through fragments of her fight, the rally, the gala, the leaks. There was still a spark out there, a crack in the empire she could pry open. She just had to find it. A diner's neon sign flickered nearby, its warmth pulling her in. She slid into a booth, ordering coffee to justify her seat, the waitress's glance wary but brief. Her burner buzzed, a risky check of encrypted messages from rally stragglers, the few who hadn't abandoned her. One stood out, from an unknown sender. "Insider at Cascade. Meet me. Midnight, old warehouse, Pier 62. Her gut screamed trap, memories of Marcus's betrayal flashing hot. But insiders were rare, and she was out of leads. She memorized the spot and deleted the message, the coffee bitter on her tongue. Risk was all she had left. Pier 62 was a graveyard of rust and salt, the Puget Sound's waves slapping against rotting wood. Amara arrived early, her cap low, senses sharp for any sign of a setup. The warehouse loomed, its windows black, the air thick with oil and decay. A figure emerged, small, nervous, clutching a folder. "You're Amara?" the woman whispered, her accent clipped. "I'm Elena. Accounting. I've seen what Holt does." Amara stayed tense, ready to bolt. "Why help me?" Elena's eyes darted. "She fired my brother for being too ethnic. I kept records." She handed over the folder, pages dense with numbers. Stock trades, secret accounts, proof Cassandra had manipulated Cascade's shares to rig votes, including Amara's. Amara's pulse raced. This was dynamite, illegal, traceable, enough to sink Cassandra for fraud, maybe prison. "Why now?" she pressed. Elena swallowed. "You scared her. The protests, your leaks. She's rushing to sell the airline, covering tracks. I can't watch anymore." Amara nodded, tucking the folder into her bag. "Get out of town," she said. "This'll blow back." Elena vanished into the dark, leaving Amara alone with a weapon sharper than any she'd held. She needed to broadcast. It not to blogs or boards, they'd bury it, but to the world, raw and loud. She remembered Kai's tricks, his talk of pirate signals, untraceable radio hacks that could hijack airwaves. Her phone was dead, but a library terminal could work, maybe a payphone to bounce the signal. She moved fast, hitting a 24-hour copy, shop to scan Elena's files, her hands shaking as she uploaded them to a dark web drop Kai had once shown her. The plan was insane. Hijack a local frequency, blast the proof to every radio, every car, every home in Seattle. If she could pull it off, Cassandra's crimes would be undeniable, the feds forced to act. By dawn, she'd rigged a crude broadcast, from a payphone's wiring using tricks she barely understood, her heart pounding with every click. The signal went live at noon, her voice crackling over Seattle's airwaves, interrupting talk shows and pop songs. "This is Amara Ellison," she said, steady despite her fear. "Cascade Airlines is rotten, and Cassandra Holt's the root. She rigs votes, steals shares, builds hate. Here's the proof." The files streamed, ledgers, emails, trades, naming names, dates, crimes. Radios blared in cafes, cabs, homes. The city frozen as her truth hit. Social media exploded. Grau Holt fraud, spiking clips of the broadcast going viral. Protests swelled outside Cascade's tower bigger than ever, demanding arrests. The FAA stepped in, grounding Cascade's flights for security risks. The airline stopped tanking. Amara hid in a basement, listening to stolen earbuds, her chest tight with triumph. She'd done it, cracked Cassandra's empire wide open. She thought she'd won, that this was the blow to end it. The protests grew, news anchors debated, the feds raided Cascade's offices. She pictured Cassandra cornered, her smirk gone, her power dust. Amara's hands shook with relief, her body slumping against a damp wall. She'd gambled everything, her safety, her name, and it worked. The warehouse district was quiet, the city alive with her victory. She closed her eyes, dreaming of Lena's smile, her mom's pride. For one fleeting moment, she was free. Then her earbuds crackled, a new broadcast cutting through. "Breaking news," a reporter said, voice grim. "Amara Ellison, linked to today's illegal radio hack, is now wanted for terrorism." Amara's breath stopped. Terrorism. The word was a sledgehammer smashing her hope to shards. The report rolled on, claiming her signal had threatened aviation safety, tying her to fake bomb threats Cascade reported hours ago. Her face was everywhere, TVs, billboards, phones, labeled a domestic threat. Protesters wavered, some calling her a hero, others a menace. The FAA's grounding wasn't justice, it was Cassandra's trap, pinning the chaos on her. Amara ripped out the earbuds, her heart a wild drum. Sirens wailed, close, hunting. She'd broadcast the truth, and Cassandra had twisted it into treason. Elena's folder was gone, dropped in her sprint from the payphone, her proof useless now. She ran, the warehouse's maze her only shield, her sneakers skidding on concrete. A manhunt was on, helicopters chopping the sky, her name a weapon in every mouth. She found a corner, crates hiding her, and pulled out a tiny recorder she'd kept since the rally, her last ditch for truth. "If you hear this," she whispered, voice breaking. "Cassandra Holt framed me. Don't let her win." She tucked it in her bag, sirens closing in, her body braced for capture. She'd fought, to the edge, but Cassandra's shadow was darker than ever. Amara Ellison crouched in the warehouse's shadows, Seattle's sirens screaming her name. The manhunt had her cornered, helicopters slicing the night, their beams hunting for the terrorist Cassandra Holt had branded her. Her pirate radio broadcast, proof of Cassandra's stock fraud, had ignited protests and grounded Cascade Airlines flights. But it backfired into a death sentence. The recorder in her trembling hand held her final plea. Cassandra framed me. Don't let her win. Her sneakers pressed against damp concrete, her backpack a flimsy shield, the folder of evidence lost in her frantic escape. She was out of moves, out of time, the city's pulse a countdown to her end. Yet her jaw clenched, her mom's whisper echoing, "You're bigger than their boxes, baby." If this was her last stand, she'd go down fighting. The warehouse smelled of rust and salt, crates looming like tombstones. Her breath was shallow, every creak a threat. Cops, drones, Cassandra's spies. The terrorism charge was a lie, woven from fake bomb threats to twist her truth into chaos. Her face was on every screen, a black woman recast as America's enemy. Her rally cries now proof of menace. She clutched the recorder, its weight her only anchor. She'd poured everything into that broadcast, Elena's files, her voice, her rage, thinking it would topple Cassandra's empire. Instead, it had made her prey, the FAA's grounding a trap to bury her deeper. Her heart pounded, but surrender wasn't in her blood. Not after Lena's house, Marcus's betrayal, the boardroom's theft. She'd find a way, even now. A faint buzz cut through her thoughts, her burner phone somehow still clinging to life. She fished it from her bag, screen cracked but glowing. A message from an unknown number. "Check the drop, Kai." Her chest tightened, her hacker friend, vanished since the SWAT raid, alive. The drop was their old dark website, a digital dead end only they knew. She had no laptop, no signal here, but the warehouse's office might have a rig. She crept through the dark, dodging beams, her ankle throbbing from a stumble. The office was a wreck, moldy files, a dusty monitor. But the computer hummed when she hit power. Her fingers flew, logging into the drop, praying it wasn't another trap. Kai's upload was there, a file labeled Holt's End. She clicked, heart racing, and an audio played. Cassandra's voice, crisp and unguarded, recorded in a boardroom Amara didn't recognize. "Ellison's a pest," she sneered. "Frame her for the threats, crash the stock, buy it back cheap. Vanguard's waiting." Amara's breath caught. It was everything. Proof Cassandra staged the terrorism scare, rigged the market, planned to sell Cascade to bigots. Kai's note attached. "Hid this in your broadcast signal. World's about to hear it." Her radio hack hadn't just sent Elena's files. It had buried this bomb, undetected until now. She uploaded the audio to the drop's public mirror, Kai's code auto-sharing it to every news outlet, blog, and forum. Her hands shook as she hit send, the warehouse's silence deafening. Seconds later, her burner pinged, alerts flooding. In the audio was live, spreading like wildfire. Headlines screamed, "Cascade CEO caught framing fugitive." Social media detonated. Gar Holt caught replacing Gador's Holt fraud. Clips of Cassandra's voice looping globally. Protesters stormed Cascade's headquarters, not just chanting but breaking gates, their rage a tidal wave. Amara sank back, dizzy, the computers, glow her only light. She'd done it. Not just exposed Cassandra, destroyed her, but she wasn't safe yet. Sirens grew louder, boots pounding outside. She stuffed the recorder in a crate's gap, whispering, "Find this, to no one." The door burst open, flashlights blinding her. "Amara Ellison, freeze!" a cop barked, rifle up. She raised her hands, knees hitting concrete, their shouts a blur. Cuffs snapped on, colder than the rain, but her lips twitched, a ghost of a smile. The audio was out, Cassandra's empire cracking, the world waking up. They dragged her to a van, the city a smear of red and blue, but her heart was steady. She'd flipped the game, even if it cost her freedom. Morning broke, and Seattle was chaos. Amara sat in a holding cell, its walls gray and cruel, but her mind was elsewhere. The audio had done more than spark protests. It had forced action. The feds raided Cascade's offices, seizing drives, cuffing execs. Cassandra tried to flee, her private jet prepped for a Caribbean bolt, but it never left the tarmac. Kai, alive and underground, had hacked its navigation, locking it down with a virus that flashed justice on its screens. Amara didn't. No, her cell had no news, but she felt the shift, a weight lifting, her fight no longer hers alone. Then the bombshell landed, one she hadn't dared dream. Her burner trust, that $5,000 spark from her mom, hadn't just bought shares, it had grown. Rally donors, inspired by her speech, had funneled millions through proxies she'd set up, mistaking them for legal funds. Kai had guided them, silent, amassing stock in her name. When Cascade's shares crashed, thanks to her broadcast and Cassandra's crimes, her proxies bought low, securing 51%. Amara owned the airline. The guard slid a paper through the bars, a lawyer's note. "You're free. Cascade is yours." She stared, numb, the words unreal. Released. By noon, she stepped into sunlight, the city hers again. Protesters cheered outside the jail, signs now reading Amara won. News vans circled, anchors stammering her story, fugitive to owner in a day. She walked to Cascade's tower, no disguise, her sneakers loud on marble. The board was hers, to fire, their faces pale as she named a new team. Diverse, fierce, chosen from rally allies and whistleblowers like Elena. She dedicated the airline to equity, renaming it Horizon, a nod to her mom's dream of skies for all. The crowd roared, her name a chant of victory, not shame. But the fight wasn't over. That night in her new office, a glass perch overlooking Seattle, a letter arrived, smuggled from Cassandra's cell. No signature, just jagged script. "You think this ends me? Watch your back." Amara's hand shook, the words a chill down her spine. She'd won the war, owned the empire, but Cassandra's shadow lingered, a promise of new enemies, new battles. She tucked the letter away, her jaw set. Let them come. She was Amara Ellison, and she'd rewrite the sky itself. Amara Ellison's journey teaches us that systemic racism is a beast, but it's not invincible. Her fight against Cassandra Holt's empire shows how prejudice thrives in power structures. Airlines, boardrooms, media, twisting truth to silence the marginalized. Yet Amara's refusal to break, even when labeled a criminal, proves resilience can outlast hate. She faced lies, betrayal, and violence, each blow meant to erase her, but turned pain into power, owning the very airline that scorned her. The lesson: your voice, no matter how small it feels, can shake giants when you wield it with strategy and heart. Amara's trust in allies, even after betrayal, reminds us community amplifies courage. Strangers funded her victory, proving collective belief can shift tides. But Cassandra's final letter warns that justice isn't a finish line, it's a marathon. Every step forward demands vigilance, as new threats lurk. Amara's story isn't just hers, it's a mirror for anyone who's felt unseen, urging us to stand tall, dig deep, and rewrite the rules. So what's your take? Drop a comment with number 1 if you've ever fought a battle others couldn't see, hit like if Amara's fire inspires you, and subscribe for more stories of grit. Share this to spark change. Thank you for joining this ride. Here's to building skies where everyone soars.